All right, Greg, love when we have a good Thursday night matchup to break down, and that's absolutely the case tonight. Let's start Saints, Cowboys. What do you think about these teams? Obviously, you watched them last week on Thanksgiving. What's interesting to you about these teams in this matchup?
Well, I think what's interesting to me is sort of a macro view of this game, Ross, because now we're in an era in which people believe that the only way you can win in the league, and I guess win a Super Bowl, is with a high-powered offense that puts up a lot of points, that theoretically has the ability to put up 40 any given week. With the Saints, we know can do that. The Cowboys would not fit into that category. They're built old school. It's a run game foundation with a high-level foundation back. It's an execution run game without much misdirection and deception, as we see with a lot of teams in the league. And it's a pretty basic pass game that by NFL standards would probably be considered somewhat remedial and elementary. So to me, the sort of interesting point, and not that this one game will decide one way or the other, but it's sort of interesting to me to think about it in a larger worldview as to whether the Cowboys are theoretically built structurally to win a Super Bowl, that kind of team.
What do you think?
I think they would. Their defense would have to be really, really good, I think, because I don't believe that offensively they would be able to generate enough points. Now, that again, if your defense is really, really good and you can win games 23-20, maybe 27-23, then yes, but they're not built to get into a shootout if that's what you believe is required to win meaningful playoff games and Super Bowls.
Right. Now, I can't wait for the matchup. I love watching the Cowboys defense right now. And I'm with you, Greg. You know, the Cowboys might not be creative, but it feels like what they're doing right now is kind of working.
Well, yeah, I mean, keep one thing in mind. They're also 6-5. We're not talking about a team that's, 9-2. So they clearly have a distinct profile. We talked about it. And that's the way they have to play. I mean, look, it always helps your pass game when you can throw 6-yard passes or 15-yard passes that become long gains. Every team loves that because those are not high-risk throws. Although I will say that I thought that the 90-yard touchdown to Cooper was clearly Prescott's best throw of the game versus the Redskins and one of his best of the season because I thought that he did such a good job with progression reading and then making a tight window throw. So I thought that was actually one of his best throws of the season. And
how about, Greg, Drew Brees throwing 4 touchdown passes to 4 undrafted free agents that a lot of people have never even heard of?
Yeah, that's true. Brees is just a joy to watch for someone like myself because now, again, we reached an era, too, where people talk about quarterbacks that have to be able to run around and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's not a good trait to have at times, but to watch a quarterback play at the level that he plays from the pocket with his understanding of what he's seeing before the snap, the ability to move and manipulate defenses after the snap, and the accuracy with which he throws throw after throw is remarkable. But I think another thing that is kind of lost with the Saints because of Brees, and probably because of Ingram missing the first 4 games, and we saw this last year, is they have a very multiple run game. They are diverse in the run game. They've got 2 outstanding backs. I think you can make an argument from a skill set standpoint, that Kamara is as good a runner as there is in the league. Now, you can't put him in the category of the guys that carry 20 times every week because he's not asked to do that, so we don't know if his skill set would diminish if he did that. But if you just look at the traits and the skills, he's an unbelievably good runner, Ross.
He is, and it's interesting too, Greg, because I feel like you and I talk about this every year right around the draft. I don't know if you saw, I saw a tweet from somebody. These are the top 4 guys in terms of scrimmage yards this year, Greg, okay? Todd Gurley, 1484, 17 touchdowns. Zeke Elliott, 1437, 8 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 1410, 12 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 1365, 10 touchdowns. So those 4 guys all have a lot of touchdowns and all lead the league in scrimmage yards. They are all also top 10 picks, Greg.